Call the meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance presented by students from Grand Start Elementary. If everyone would please rise. That'll bring us to 1.3, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. 2.1, presentation by students from Grand Start Elementary.
I'm Dr. Drace, and I am very proud to be the principal of Grand Star Elementary. Tonight, I'm excited to introduce you to a few of our remarkable students who will be sharing the life goals we emphasize at Grand Star. These goals are not only guide our students in their academic journey, but also inspire aspirations beyond the classroom.
Hello, my name is Dustin G, and we are in Miss Gatlin's third grade class in Grand Star Elementary.
My name is Xander Cifuentes. I am part of Grand Star's Student Leadership Council. Miss Gatlin and Miss Becker are the teachers who lead our third and fourth grade students.
My name is Haiti Ortega. This year, our school has been learning life goals with BEST to help us do our best at school and in life.
My name is Oliver Davenport. We have practiced 3 life goals, and we practice them in class to help us do our best.
Life goal 1, I can do some good. I can make good choices even if I'm mad or have strong feelings. This life goal means I can do something even if I'm feeling upset.
Okay, even if others are not. Okay. This life goal means I can control my actions and decisions even if others aren't making good choices.
This life goal helps me remember to keep do something even if it's hard or I don't want to. This life goal helps me remember to keep trying even when things are hard or I don't feel like doing it.
Learning these life goals has helped us do well in school and make better choices with our friends and classmates. They also help us stay focused and work hard even when things are tough. Thank you for letting us share how life goals help us at Grand Star.
First of all, I just want to say thank you guys for having us this evening. We are the third grade teachers from Grand Star Elementary. I am Hope Sherman.
I'm Michelle Statham. Katie Doro.
Melinda Gatlin.
We are here to share a little bit about BIST with you guys. This is our first year implementing BIST in our building. We just want to share a little bit about how it works in our school, and then some successes that we've had so far this school year. So BIST stands for Behavior Intervention Support Team, and it is a proactive way to approach managing behavior as well as setting up a positive school culture. It is used to emphasize and support learning environments by addressing challenging behaviors through expectations, constant responses, and tailored support.
So this summer, every team at Grand Star had one representative go to a week-long summer training, and that really helped because each team then was able to have a representative to answer questions on when questions come up, and also they're able to meet to address more building-wide questions. At the beginning of the year, we were all trained as a full staff, so we would have a common language as well as know the basics of BIST. And we were incredibly fortunate to have Dr. Drace this year because he has done BIST and has been trained in BIST. And so he's been able to really support us as we navigate this new program in our building. And the foundation in common language has really been what has tied it together for our students. So at the beginning of the year, classroom teachers explicitly taught different engaging lessons that had hands-on activities for each of the students so they understood what our expectations were, and also helped create a safe and predictable environment among Grand Star. Again, you just heard the 3 life goals from our students that we do. So we have, I can make good choices even if I'm mad. I can be okay even if others are not okay, and I can do something even if it's hard or I don't want to.
All right, we just reflecting back kind of picked out our 3 biggest successes that we've noticed this year because we've noticed a tremendous improvement in things with implementing BIST into our building. We've noticed that teachers, it teaches kids how to handle frustrations, conflict resolution, and handling routines. It uses the goals to do this. It's been amazing to even see now that the kids are feeling empowered because they know these goals, they know the expectations, just a big improvement there. We've also noticed a huge increase in instructional time. The reason we notice that is we do a lot of pre-teaching and reteaching, but then the kids know those expectations, which allows for the academics to really be increased within the classroom. The kids are spending less time having to be out of the classroom. They know what's going on. It's just been a huge improvement for that time. As well as our 3rd big takeaway has been our collaboration and just being consistent. Being able to collaborate with, we have a BIST coach that comes regularly that meets with us. We are able to collaborate as a BIST team, the same ones that went during the summer, as well as being able to collaborate as a grade level and being able to support each other. So that has been a huge thing there, and just being consistent even with that language school-wide has made a big difference because our kids know what to expect. They know the language. They know that every adult, every child, every day. And that is how we kind of work together. So we even have had a big success story is that since we collaborate, and they are all of our kids, for example, Mrs. Sherman and I just happen to be the ones that kind of team together. If we see that kids are kind of struggling or needing a little bit more support, we do utilize each other. We develop that relationship with that child. We use check-ins. We use times to actually process and be able to discuss how they can implement these skills. And some of our kiddos have made some huge gains. It's been amazing.
Our next one is just how we actually support our students along the way with BIST. So the first one is, like she said, we do a lot of teaching and reteaching along the way. So at the beginning of the year, we had lesson plans that we used to help teach these kids the different life goals and strategies. And now in January, we are actually reteaching those skills because we've had a long break. So we want to make sure that those students truly remember, what we're doing and why we're doing it. Another one is just teaching these skills are not only beneficial at school, but it's also beneficial outside of school. These kids are starting to learn the language, and they are actually able to apply it in all aspects of their life. And then the last one is giving them those strategies that they can use. One example that we use is called TAPS, which stands for Total and Perfect Silence. It's 3 minutes. We play some calming music. These kids rest their heads. It's a time for us to refocus, focus on our breathing, get ready to learn. We actually noticed that one part of our day we were really struggling to get through our instructions, and so we inserted in just a little TAPS break right before, and we noticed that our instructional time was actually increasing because we were able to refocus our minds and our bodies before going into teaching where we would struggle to get through it. So it's just been amazing to see that these kids are using those strategies in school and outside of school that we've been teaching all school year.
These are a few quotes that have come from teachers. There's many more, but just a few things and how it has created a huge impact. So, huge impact on student behaviors, worth the time and training. This one is from me. I wish I had this in years past. I finally have a tool to support me in the classroom, and that's very true. I taught kindergarten last year, and now I'm doing 3rd grade this year, and I really wish I would have had this in place because I feel like it would have just kind of helped me with like first, then this. We're all on the same page, and that has been huge for me this year in 3rd grade. There is a big difference in our school culture and climate. We are putting out less fires. Students are successful with the routine, consistency, and common language of all adults. So those are just a few quotes that we have heard other teachers share. And we just want to thank the district for giving us this as a resource to utilize in the classroom. It has been huge here in our school, and especially with Dr. Drace and that coach and everybody being on the same page with behaviors. We appreciate that.
Thank you for the presentation. That will bring us to 3.1, election of board president.
I would nominate Tom Redden for board president. I really appreciate your leadership, not just this past year, but in years past. And I appreciate that you make all of us equal and you make sure that all of our voices are heard. So I would nominate you for board president.
Do I have a second?
We don't need a second.
Okay. All those in favor? None opposed? Snuck in on us. That will bring us to 3.2, election of vice president.
I would actually like to make a nomination for vice president. And before saying this, I would like to thank everyone. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as the vice president of our board, but it is time for a change, and I would like to nominate Greg Chapman.
All those in favor? Opposed? That will bring us to 3.3, board meeting dates for 2025-2026. Action.
I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? None opposed. That will bring us to 4.1, commendations and notes of appreciation. Lana Sutton has one she's going to read for us.
Yes. All right, hopefully I turned the right mic on. We have a very nice thank you card from Gardner Elementary, and it says, USD 231 board members, we just wanted to take a moment during BOE Appreciation Month to say thank you for your service and leadership to our district. We are grateful for your time, effort, and dedication to our students and community. Thank you, Gardner Elementary. See that?
Thank you, Lana. That will bring us to 5.1, hearing of requests and suggestions of citizens and organizations. We have 6 speakers. To speed it up, I'll kind of call who's reading, who's on deck, and who's in the hole. So first, we're going to have Amanda Bird, followed by Dave Dravetta, with Kristen Schultz in the hole.
Are you ready? Do I hit the start? Okay. Hello, my name is Amanda Bird, and I am the Library Media Specialist at Gardner Edgerton High School. I am here today to express my deep disappointment regarding the removal of Lillian Duncan from our library, a decision that disregarded the recommendation of the Book Review Committee, a group of highly educated and invested professionals appointed by this school district. The purpose of the committee is to provide informed guidance, yet the decision undermines their expertise and sets a concerning precedent. Literature serves as mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors for readers. It reflects students' lives, offers perspectives into others' experiences, and fosters empathy. Removing representation of specific groups denies our students these vital opportunities. This decision sends a harmful message to students like Lily, who already face significant challenges. By removing this book, you not only deny students like Lily a chance to see themselves represented, but you also contribute to the larger societal pressures that negatively impact their mental health and well-being. We have multiple Lilies in our district that we work with every day. These students are an important part of our learning community and deserve the same rights and representation as their cisgender peers. Imagine a student struggling with their identity, finding comfort and validation in the pages of a book that tells them that they are not alone. Removing that lifeline sends a message that their struggles are not worth acknowledging. Moreover, the statement claiming that being transgender is a mental illness that was made is not only incorrect, but dangerous. Transgender youth face unique mental health challenges due to societal stigma, discrimination, family rejection, and anti-transgender legislation. Removing literature that validates their experiences exasperates these struggles and contributes to their marginalization. At your last meeting, there was discussion regarding the book challenge process and the role the Book Review Committee would play. The governing of the book review processes are critical. I encourage the board to seek guidance from the American Library Association's Office of Intellectual Freedom, which specializes in crafting policies that balance intellectual freedom and community values. Their expertise can help ensure our policies are equitable and effective, while also reflecting the district's commitment to fostering an inclusive and supportive environment for all students. In closing, I urge you to remember your responsibility to represent all members of our community. By embracing inclusive practices and diverse literature, you demonstrate leadership that ensures every student feels seen, valued, and supported. Together, we can create a learning environment where all students can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. That will bring up Dave Dravetta with Kristen Schultz on deck and Carrie Schmidt in the hole.
Good evening, I'm Dave Dravetta from Gardner, Kansas. Tonight I'm commenting about the book, Lily and Duncan, and the process it followed. I'm disappointed in the board's decision regarding the book since the approved review process was followed and resulted in a near unanimous recommendation to keep it on the shelf. Disregarding the committee's recommendation may have sent a message that committee decisions are only welcome if they meet your agenda. Sometimes as leaders, we have to set aside our own fears and biases and make decisions based on the advice of those to whom we've delegated that responsibility, even if it doesn't align with our expectations. Regarding the book itself, I read it after the decision. I found that it provides a view of the challenges of adolescence from the perspective of two children trying to find their way and work through some significant personal challenges. It allows the reader the opportunity to develop empathy for characters who are working through real struggles, and not just the children, but their parents as well. It discusses issues that are not necessarily easy to talk about, but issues that are relevant nonetheless. It gives voice to those who are often voiceless. Finally, there is a silver lining. Since the decision was made to remove the book, all forms of the book, electronic, audio, and hard copy, have been on a waiting list at the Johnson County Library, and there are still multiple requests pending. Perhaps as more people read the book, they will develop empathy for the characters, and we as a society will move the needle a small bit in the direction of understanding and acceptance of all our Creator's children. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. That will bring up Kristen Schultz with Carrie Schmidt on deck and Emma Jones in the hole.
Good evening. I'd like to speak tonight about the complete disregard of this board to respect the overwhelming majority recommendation of a committee specifically designated to determine the appropriateness of a book for our school library. When you voted against the committee recommendation, you acted in your own personal biases. You cite student safety and claim to be in the interest of protecting our kids while categorically disregarding peer-reviewed research that supports the availability of these books to our students. You speak from a fear of the unknown, a dismissal of the rights of a group of our students, and from a place of misunderstanding the importance of students seeing themselves represented and of the ability that literature has to teach lessons better than any speech, tirade, or sermon ever could. I prefer to cite research. The Trevor Project has done extensive studies on the subject of the impact that community acceptance has on the LGBTQ, including significantly increased suicide rates when legislation is passed that erases their right to exist, such as removing books with character representation in them. A tool to help students learn how to navigate difficult and nuanced challenges in life is social narratives, short stories that allow students to read about characters like themselves while they work through things such as handling change, being rejected, or trying something for the first time. When they see themselves in the story, they connect and the concept resonates more. The value of these social narratives is also steeped in research. We are finding more and more students whose parents have not equipped them to understand what may happen to them or their friends as they get outside the bubble of their home. When students think they are the only ones going through something, they tend not to seek out people to talk to or to get help from. This is how kids can begin to feel alone, weird, or bizarre. This is how kids become hopeless. When they read books whose characters are similar, they can connect. When those characters process in healthy ways, kids see it, and when they process in harmful ways, they see that too, and they learn from it. In the interest of truly protecting our youth and encouraging them to learn, think, connect, grow, innovate, and care, I urge you to respect those who have been chosen by this district to commit their time and thoughtful consideration. Allow access to the students who need to feel seen, heard, and understood. Keep our children's minds safe, their compassion thriving, and their bodies alive.
Thank you, Kristen. That will bring up Carrie Schmidt with Emma Jones on deck and Kami McKeever in the hole.
All right, just when I thought things couldn't get more ridiculous this year, they have with this VP vote. Like any other person, I would have been, like any other person would have been a better choice, but here you are giving a title to a man who verbally abused and bullied a parent at a board meeting. But hey, everyone is allowed him and Tom to attack and silence me that day, so why am I shocked? 2 years ago, I asked someone in this district via email why the book It Ends With Us was added to the library, and that staff member said it was because many students requested it. I would love to know how many other books were added this way. So tonight I'm going to read a part of a book called Later Gator that I asked to be reviewed. This book is written in text format, so it reads differently. Zo Girl, here's the stupid ad word for word. I like to put on a show, so not only do you have to be very hung, talented, long-lasting, multiple comer, but you have to be okay fucking a sexy 18-year-old in front of other guys. There would never be too many 3, 4, or even 5. I'm on the chubby side, as you can see, but that just means more of me to go around. And if you meet the criteria and you're interested, call me. Zo Girl, hey girls, yes, it's true. I'm a woman now. Mad Maddie, way to go, you sexy beast. Just to be clear, we're talking full insertion here. Zo Girl, we made love. It was amazing, and now all I can think about is, holy cow, I'm no longer a virgin. I would never be a virgin again. Snow Angel, what is that like? Zo Girl, where to start? The complicated part was getting it in. It wasn't effortless like in the movies. Snow Angel, okay, so how did you get it in? Sits attentively with pen and paper. Zo Girl, he kind of guided it in with his hands. I tried to help, but I felt pretty fumbly. Snow Girl, did it hurt when it finally happened? Zo Girl, a little, and I think I bled some. But Doug had brought a quilt, which we'd spread on the floor. He also brought candles and roses, and afterwards he held me tight and told me he'd never loved anyone as much as me. Mad Maddie, did you have the big O? Zo Girl, not exactly, but that's okay. Lots of girls don't their first time. That's what I've read. Snow Angel, did he have the big O? Well, yeah. Mad Maddie, guys always do, duh. Zo Girl, we'll be better with practice. That's what I think. Plus, Doug wore a condom, which I have read can inhibit the woman's pleasure. He's gonna look into different brands next time. So this is just one example why you need to fix your vetting process on adding books into this district. I don't know what more proof you need for me and other parents to show that your system is broken. You all get so defensive that you have no problem causing emotional distress and damaging the reputation of parents who bring this to your attention versus fixing the problem. The fact is that you are more concerned with changing a policy to make it easier for sexual content to come into and stay into our libraries. And that says a whole lot about you and your values. Oh, and why are members attending school choice forums at private schools when there's so much to do in our district? Just know that the community has been watching you, and those who have not consistently stood up for children will be primaried. I can't wait.
Thank you, Carrie. That will bring up Emma Jones with Kami McKeever on deck.
Good evening. I'm Emma Jones. Now, I could sit up here and dedicate my time to addressing the board at large and the fact that we're once again in the national news because we continue making poor choices, trying to serve literally 2 people in our entire district. It's the same exact 2 people that were upset about the book Lily and Duncan being available in our library. They come up here and speak during community comments. They've doxed board members and encouraged online communities to retaliate and send hate mail to our board members. And yet we continue to lick their boots and do their bidding. This board does not serve the majority. They do not serve the parents or the staff of USD 231. They serve 2 people, which is why I'm not going to stand here and address the board as a whole. There's nothing I'm going to say tonight that's going to change your mind. However, there's one part about December's meeting that I felt was lacking in clarity and really should be addressed. Mr. Chapman, during the December meeting, you said, referencing the novel Lily and Duncan, a terrible book for men and for fathers. I would like to think that the dad had not caved in and not been bullied by his family to cave, the character would have gotten the help they needed. It happens too many times in the real world, and it would be nice if men would stand up and not cave and take care of their families like they're supposed to. This is my husband, Jared. Jared's out of town in Tennessee, where he's been living since September, working to provide for his family. He works 16-hour shifts, 6 days a week, working construction. He's 6'2", and he's possibly the most shredded man I've ever known. He can bench press my body weight. Jared built my entire homestead operation from scratch. No plans. He took wood and he took a drill and he built me a chicken coop and a run and raised garden beds. He also built from the studs a kitchen and a bathroom and a fully renovated basement art studio. He's done the maintenance on all of our vehicles, and he rebuilds old Ford F-150 engines in his free time for fun. He's a provider, providing 100% of my family's income, a carpenter, a mechanic. His coworkers have described him as the hardest worker they've ever seen. He leads our family emotionally, physically, and spiritually. He's the ultimate man by every definition you confer with masculinity, Mr. Chapman. And he easily has more testosterone in his little finger than you do in your entire body. And yet, he also supports my kids' preferred gender identity. So I'm not sure what you were trying to say about men being leaders, but I'm telling you this, just so that you know, real men are taking care of their families and supporting their children who might conform to different gender identities. In fact, parents of trans children easily have to be the toughest people I know to have to take on fearful people like you day after day. So if what you're actually scared of is just trans kids and the parents of trans kids, it would be easier to just say that next time. Because even I can see that you're projecting. If you were to come face to face with my husband in the real world, I can tell by how loudly you were crying on social media when you got hate mail, you'd probably call him yes, sir, and lick his boots too. We're out of time. I'm sure you'll think of something clever to say during board comments to show me that my words hurt, which just means they hit where they were intended. Congrats on VP, although it feels like a big position for a little man.
Thank you, Emma. That will bring up Cammie McKiver.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Cammie McIver. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a parent of 2 middle school students at Pioneer Ridge, a substitute teacher in this district, and the president of Gardner Pride. I grew up in a small town much like Gardner. My grandfather, the president of our school board. I initially attended K-State to be an English teacher, and a few credit hours short, I quit for the exact reason that there are parents who are not even involved in their own children's education that hold some sort of power to remove access to books for other children to read. I love reading. Reading opens my eyes to things that I may not get to experience in life or help me gain the empathy to be a good person to those who may not have the same life I do. It helps open my eyes to cultures, beliefs, and lifestyles that are not my own. I grew up in a Baptist church from the time I can remember until the time I was no longer under my parents' roof. 17 years of Christianity shoved down my throat, yet I am not a Christian. I read Romeo and Juliet many times as a middle and high school student. I am neither straight nor a victim of suicide. In fact, I didn't read a single book about a gay or lesbian or trans person, and here I am, a lesbian. I read of Mice and Men and Lord of Flies, yet I've never killed anyone. I could continue, but I think you understand my point. For anyone to suggest that reading a book that talks about an LGBTQ person's experience will make them gay or trans is both willfully ignorant and ethically wrong. I could also suggest morally wrong, but it is clear that many of us in this room do not hold the same morals as I do. This district set forth a process in which anyone, or the same few people in this district's case, can request a review of a book and then went against the same process and voted to remove that book that mentions hormones blockers, something that is medically necessary for some kids, trans or not. I assure you there is no black market for hormone blockers being sold at this school district. Is there no better solution to this waste of time, listening to one parent perform theatrics at every school board to try to remove a book off a library shelf that were put there by people who are better qualified than them? There are electronic systems in place that parents can block their own children's access from checking out a book. And the kids that do check out this book are looking for acceptance, familiarity, or knowing that someone else has had a similar life experience or genuinely have a curiosity to learn. Not because they are hoping to be some target of some adults attempting to erase their existence. Trans kids exist, and they exist in this district.
Thank you, Cammie. That will bring us to 6.1, grants and donations, presented by Heath Freeman.
We have a list of a few individuals and groups that have been able to offer generous donations to help the families and students and staff in the district. First, we have the Gardner Edgerton Foundation of their donation of value of over $6,000 for rent, for driver's ed, for utility bills, hotels nights for some of our homeless students, as well as some Christmas gifting. Members of the New Life Community Church have donated $300 to help with meal account balances across the district. And then we received 2 anonymous donations to help with nurse supplies and negative meal account balances as well, one for Sunflower Elementary and one for Gardner Elementary. Thank you to those patrons for their support of the district.
Thank you, Heath, and thank you to all the generous donors. That will bring us to the consent agenda. 7.1, minutes of the regular meeting held on December 9th, 2024. 7.2, financial statements. 7.3, 2025-26 middle and high school course fee schedule. 7.4, approval of contracts and purchases. And 7.5, approval of claims.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? None opposed? Signed up ahead of time? Okay. All right, we're going to backtrack a minute. There was a speaker signed up that didn't make the list. Okay. JJ Briscoe, is that correct?
Testing. Okay. Thank you so much for letting me speak tonight. Hello, everyone. My name is JJ Briscoe. I am a grad of the class of 2019. I've lived in Gardner since 2011. And I guess we'll just start with the fact that currently I'm a student at New York University, got my bachelor's, getting my master's right now. And one of the things that was very apparent, you know, going to an elite institution, quote unquote, is that you realize that there is a stark difference between the education, the quality of education that students receive in this country. I realized that for some people at some high schools, they were almost destined to go to more competitive colleges. And luckily for me, thank God for Miss Gillette and Miss Shepard for going out of their way to create an ACT prep class, which was the only way that I had access to practice and study for that test. But now I fear, and I kind of want to zoom out with this conversation, you know, talking about the book ban. I fear that we're spending time as a school district engulfed in a culture war, I think we could say that. And we're chasing away educators who go above and beyond, and we're dragging the reputation of this school district through the mud at the state and national level. As I'm not sure if people know, we were on John Oliver for a previous book ban that the school district had conducted. So in other words, we're decreasing the competitive nature of our school district and the results that we can deliver for our kids. And this kind of corrosive politics of overriding the will of a committee that voted 10-1, this kind of politics that really allows us to lose talent and makes the school district less attractive, it breaks my heart because I know that for a fact, the school districts that are able to deliver a quality education are not talking about this. Blue Valley, they aren't acting like this way. And I think that's part of the point, really, for figures from Moms for Liberty. What they're doing is, and they might not even know it, is that that's the underlying point of their movement, to undermine the common person's trust in public education, so then we seek to fund it less, worsen outcomes for the community's children, and then use that to create a window of opportunity to privatize our school system, which of course becomes a business opportunity for local mega churches, and of course will further the divide between who is well educated based off who can afford the price of tuition or not. I love the presentation we had earlier, where we're talking about how do we equip our students with new skills. We should be talking about new languages, new experiences to make it and be competitive in a 21st century economy that is ever more challenging. So I beg the majority of our school board to prioritize that rather than supporting specific religious ideals. And if there's anyone else in this room that agrees with that, please connect with me after this meeting, or we'll group together later so we can focus how to go to bat for these kids, the best ways to do it, rather than batting them away. Thank you.
Thank you, JJ. That will bring us to 9.1, DLR facility bond update.
Good evening, Board. We're moving right along with the bond process. We've got stuff in front of the state right now. We're in the process of ramping up for an election. I think things are going well for everything in the direction we're heading. DLR's got a nice little presentation to pick up the pace of where we actually are. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, and thank you for having me tonight. My name is Ian Kilpatrick. For those of you I haven't met, I lead our practice at DLR Group. And as Mark mentioned, we have worked very hard since April of 24 to get to this point. So you see that timeline up there that we brought up a number of times. We're in that bond campaign phase. So tonight we're just here to share a little bit of the progress to date and give a quick update on what you'll start seeing out in the community, out in the schools, from our team here in the district, as well as the Vote Yes Committee. Just to refresh, and I won't go line by line, but just looking at that finalized bond scope through good work, lots of critical conversations, some tough ones even, we were able to reach consensus on a bond scope within that $100 million no mill levy increase. And I'm excited for all of the projects that are slated in this bond referendum, really touching all the facilities across the district and making huge impact at all grade levels. Progress to date. So as Mark mentioned, we've been busy, especially prior to the holidays. The team behind the scenes has been very busy, and you'll see a number of milestones we've hit up there. First and foremost, that intent and publication to a local newspaper for the bond referendum. We have submitted our application to the State Department of Education for review. We have published our notice of intent to submit that application, submitted election documents to the county clerk, and then we've also gone through that meeting with KSDE for that bond application. A lot of hard work to get us to the point that we're at today. Kind of looking forward as our next steps, January 15th is when that State Board of Education meeting will occur, which is when they'll approve to exceed the debt limit for this district. That is not so much of a concern since there is no state aid in regard to that debt limit for the state of Kansas, so we are optimistic that will be pretty easy to sail through. And then looking into February, we have that first publication of notice of the bond election. March 6th would be that second publication of notice of bond election. And then two very, very important dates that we are going to get to quicker than we hope, but that voter registration deadline on March 11th will continue to campaign and advertise for people to go and register to vote if they already aren't. And then April 1st will be that special bond election where this will be on the ballot to vote yes or no. As we look ahead at the bond campaign, and we've touched on this a little bit, this is where we will start seeing more collateral, more imagery, more facts about the bond. And we've mentioned this in prior presentations, but just to reiterate, there's two efforts here. There's a fact-based effort, so everything coming from USD 231, and that'll be produced largely on our end and then put out in all of campuses. It'll be flyers, it'll be postcards. It's a whole orchestrated affair to get that information out there. And really what that is telling people is what the bond is and how much it is, when to register and when to vote. And you'll see an example of that behind Lana and Jeff over there for just some of the initial get the facts about the upcoming bond election. On the other side, as we kick off the Vote Yes Committee, we are supporting that promotional effort, and that's where we will be advocating on behalf of the bond and helping align both imagery coming from USD 231 and imagery coming from that Vote Yes Committee. And you'll see a couple of examples up here. It's very minimal, the changes between what we're seeing in both of these, but it is very clear in that left example that we are only factually based, that we are only showing factual information about the bond from the district. And then that promotional effort is, of course, advocating for the bond. But what's important is all that language is aligned, all of the scope is aligned, all the imagery is aligned, so that what people are seeing in the community is consistent. And so we wanted to touch just briefly on some of the key messaging to align those campaigns. And you'll see, again, in that board that says Get the Facts, really looking at the general bond scope. We have a number of postcard flyers for the board tonight that you can take with you after tonight's meeting and hand out to those in the community. And really, it's just an overview of all the bond projects included in this $100 million no mill levy increase. We'll then look at each week strategically communicating about specific pieces of the bond, including the new service center to better serve all your facilities, special education improvements and playground accessibility throughout the district, those improvements that have been outlined at the high school, specifically around the kitchen and commons, early childhood and the renovation of Sunflower into that facility, safety and security upgrades at all the buildings, an expansion to the Trails building for additional programming, and then really rounding us out with what is the largest part of the bond, and that's that new elementary school south of Pioneer Ridge. And we'll be working closely with Dr. Booth and his team, as well as the social media team behind the district, to ensure that all of that messaging is also cohesive with what you're seeing in print material. And so with that, that is my quick update. We're excited to get this campaign kicked off. We're getting some great momentum, and we're looking forward to April 1st. So any questions?
I have a comment, and just a big thanks to Ian and your team for getting us to this point and then also launching us forward. To the board, we are looking now for names for chair people and then members of the Vote Yes committee. And so if you would like to send me ideas, we'll start to gather that group together. And these are people that can go out and freely say that we want you to vote yes on this. In the meantime, my team and I will be on the left side, presenting all sorts of facts and figures about this. As a matter of fact, I had my first meeting this morning with the Gardner Chamber of Commerce, and the Gardner Chamber of Commerce voted to endorse our bond campaign. So they are in favor of this no mill levy increase. So thank you, Ian. Thank you, team. We have a lot to go ahead, but we are very excited about the prospects.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That will bring us to 9.2, Superintendent Dr. Brian Huff.
All right, I'll just continue my thoughts. This is Board Appreciation Month. And I've said this before, and I'll reiterate it again, that the folks who are sitting on this dais with me today have signed on to a rather thankless job, but one that has a great amount of return. It means a great deal to our kids. We deliver the very best education possible, and we're very proud of that. We're proud that our kids go through this educational institution and are able to go on and do great things, as one of our recent graduates got up and spoke today and is doing very well, and we should be very proud of the direction that he's going. We should be proud of what we have going on here as a district, and I'm very proud of the hard work that this team has put in. It's not always easy. It's actually rarely easy because there is so much going on behind the scenes, and a lot of what we do is very emotionally tied to the parents and patrons of our district. So thank you. I know it needs more than words, but we do really appreciate the time and effort you put in. My two children appreciate it. We've also had a very interesting couple weeks here. Last week, we saw a nice little snowstorm right on the heels of Christmas vacation, and so all the parents of our district got to enjoy their children for an extra week. I thought it'd be really important, one, to first thank our staff, who gets up early in the morning to come out and try to clear the parking lots, our maintenance crews on the plows, our custodial crews with shovels. Thank you for all the hard work that you put in. It's tremendous, it's difficult, and we were ready to go for each one of those days. However, Mother Nature had other thoughts and continued battle against us. And there are times where there are places where we just can't quite get everything perfect, and we have to make a decision. When I say we, I mean I have to make a decision on days like Thursday last week where we did decide to go to school, and it was not perfect. And I got a lot of insight from several patrons about how imperfect it was. And it's hard making decisions on days like that, and that's fine. But I do want the public to know that this district really does try to get your kids into school every day that we can. And the day that we cancel school, I get lots of ideas about how we could have had school. On days we have school, I've got lots of ideas about why we shouldn't be there. We try to have a nice balance, and this board is very good about bouncing ideas also. And I don't mean that sarcastically, I mean that honestly, that we do need to hear what our public has to say to know whether we should go on a day like Friday. And I have a big thanks to Mark DeWitt. Where'd you go? There he is. Whom I met at 3 o'clock in the morning while he was on a plow at Edgerton Elementary School on Friday trying to decide what we were going to do. I appreciate the dedication. It's good to be able to make that decision with more than just one thought. Ben and Jody also having to get up early that morning. we do this as a team. And that's not being defensive. That's just kind of giving you a little bit of insight as to how we go about doing this. And Friday was not an easy decision either. I'm just glad we're here all week this week. And we have a cold snap coming up, or it might be a difficult decision on Monday morning. You know what? Let's go ahead and call Monday off. How's that sound for everybody? We'll go ahead and do that ahead of time. So thanks to the board. Hopefully we can get through this winter well so we can get out in time and not be going late in May. So that's all I have to say tonight. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Huff. That will bring us to 9.3, comments by the Board of Education.
I just had one thing. I just wanted to promote here this evening the upcoming event on January 16th, so Thursday of this week, the fentanyl awareness event that's being hosted at GEHS. This is a very important educational series. It's the second this year where we've brought someone in to speak about crises that are facing our youth, whether it be the screen sanity event from earlier and now fentanyl. So I want to be thankful of our admin and our staff for putting those together. They'll be offering free childcare for those that might want to attend, not be able to make those arrangements on their own. So thank you to those student volunteers. And again, that is Thursday, January 16th at 7 p.m. in the GEH Lecture Hall, hosted by the Gardner Police Department. So thank you to our partners at the Gardner Police Department and Libby Davis from Keep 'em Clean for Coop organization.
Thank you, Heath.
I wanted to say I appreciated the presentation by the school for BIST. I learned about BIST quite a while ago, and that was something that I really wanted to see implemented in our district. I hope we're seeing those same results across the board, but that was really, really encouraging to hear. So I really appreciate them coming out.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone else? All right, that will bring us to 11.1, executive session for personnel.
Ted? Yeah. I'm going to trust you. I know. Motion to go into executive session to discuss the Human Resources Personnel Report pursuant to non-elected personnel exception under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:05 p.m. The board would like to invite Dr. Huff, Dr. Marshall, Dr. Booth, and Mark Meyer into executive session. And Heather Peak, please.
All right, we're back in session and on to 11.2, action on personnel.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the personnel.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. 11.3, executive session for land and property acquisition.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss potential properties for land acquisition pursuant to the exception for preliminary discussion of the acquisition of real property under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:30 p.m. The board would like to invite Dr. Huff, Dr. Booth, Dr. Marshall, consultants Mark DeWitt and Amy Drogemeyer to executive session.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. All right, we're back in session. And moving on to 11 point. Nope. Oh. Well, this is her then, not me.
I'm sorry. He's running the show.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss potential properties for land acquisition pursuant to the exception for preliminary discussion of the acquisition of real property under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:35 p.m. The board would like to invite Dr. Huff, Dr. Booth, Dr. Marshall, consultants Mark DeWitt, and Amy Drogemeyer into executive session.
All those in favor? None opposed. All right, we're back in session and on to 11.4, executive session for negotiations.
I thought he was saying 45 minutes. I mean, you are crazy.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss the board's professional negotiation priorities and parameters with its chief negotiators pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under COMA. And the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:45 p.m. The board would like to invite Dr. Huff, Dr. Marshall, Dr. Booth, and Amy Drogemeyer into executive session.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. All right, we're back in session and on to 11.5, executive session for superintendent's evaluation.
You guys want to start with 20 minutes?
Okay.
8:10.
Huh?
8:10.
Sure.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss the superintendent's personnel evaluation pursuant to confidential personnel exceptions under COMA, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 8:10 p.m. The board would like to invite Dr. Booth, Dr. Marshall, and Dr. Huff into executive session.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. We're back in session and on to 12.1, adjournment of meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed? 13.1, the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Monday, January 27th, 2025, 6 p.m. here in the board office. This one is pertinent to budget and negotiations.